you always have to find a balance between being proud of where you are, comfortable, content, satisfied, grateful, and striving for that next level.
And then start feeling good about these wins and celebrate them, and have other people invested in your, in your cause, and have those people that are closest to you understand what you're trying to do, so they're not going to try to sabotage you.
So I often find that finding that person who is not personally invested in your life, that other person is a better sounding board, because that person who's so close to you, what they're going to do is, everybody's thinking in their head, what's in it for me? What's in it for me, right? So that other person is thinking, gosh, Jen's going to do this. Does that mean I have to do this now?
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World. We are here today with a roundtable discussion with Rob Packus and Jen Ochnen. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
So I want to get started first, just introducing the two of you. Both of you have been guests on my podcast in the past, one-on-one. Jen, let's start with you. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jen Ochnen, and I am a proud corporate dropout who transitioned life at age 40 due to a health and wellness transformation. And basically, I became an entrepreneur obsessed with helping other busy professional women kind of rediscover themselves, stop feeling so exhausted and stressed and overworked, and try instead focus them into more healthy lifestyle habits so that they feel healthy, strong, sexy, confident, and just have a whole new outlook on life. Because there's a lot of people out there that felt like me, and I want to make sure I can pass these lessons forward.
Awesome. So does that include like diet, exercise, kind of the whole thing, the whole lifestyle coaching, or what does that look like?
Well, right now I focus on nutrition and mindset, and I'm actually moving towards a new nutrition certification, and I'm leaving the fitness stuff to the pros like you.
Fair enough. And Rob, introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I'm Rob Packus, and I have a company called Fitness in a Bag, and it was meant to help the everyday person, but before COVID, it was kind of targeted toward teams so that they could do some off-season training. They could bring their portable bag of goodies to, a hockey rink to warm up properly before their hour, or, a volleyball tournament between games, so that they could use a mini foam roller, they could use bands, they could, really take care of their own personal needs. Because as, with sports, as you climb up the food chain, you're looking for every little advantage possible. And there are 21 items now in this bag, and everything goes to an app that is delivered daily to people. And it meets different needs for different people. So it doesn't matter whether you're the weekend warrior, the busy mom or dad, or the, high level athlete. I hope it has something in there for everyone.
A little bit of something for everybody as far as what you cater to. I know when we spoke last time, you mentioned that there has been kind of an evolution in your business. Like you said, you started catering toward the athletes and then opened it up to more kind of common people, non-athletes. We're all athletes, right? We all move our body. We're all
armchair athletes.
The armchair athletes. There you go.
So we went into education a little bit, because through COVID, we were finding everything was now online, and people, especially students, needed to move, and teachers were having a hard time. Like, when 30 kids are in front of you and you're playing soccer or basketball or whatever, that's fine, because now kids are moving. But when you're at home and you're online, what could kids do? They can't dribble a soccer ball, or often play basketball in a condo or a small facility, like a bedroom or something like that, but they can move bands and stuff like that. So that was my biggest transition in terms of going from an athletic population to an everyday population, where some kids were athletes and played soccer outside, but with COVID it shut down. And it was a good transition. Like it really got things moving in different ways, challenges, but often really, really good ways.
Yeah, that's great. I think as you were talking, that's kind of what my transition looked like when I was a kid and up through high school. it was all about the big field, right? Soccer, baseball, basketball, a little bit of football. And I loved it. And now it's like very, very small. Like now I do my fitness classes. I literally just need a yoga mat and a camera. And it's very condensed now, right? And definitely in the days of COVID, it's, I don't know, I guess more realistic to get a workout in like that. Don't have to interact physically necessarily with anybody. Jen, I want to go to you real quick and ask you about step number one. Somebody comes to you completely like, I have no idea what to do. Jen, help me. What do you talk to them about? What's your step one with them?
Well, step one is really even before we start the conversation, I send them a little kind of pre-call discovery form. And I tell them to, set aside 10, 15 minutes so that you can think about it as you fill this out. And I'm asking them about, what their current habits are. What are they eating? What are their activity levels? What's truly their big goal? Why do they want to talk to me? And, if they want to lose weight, what have they tried in the past? Why did it work? Why didn't it work? So that I find that this really helps both of us, because for the person coming to me, it helps them really kind of level set, wow, what do I really want to accomplish, right? And help them think that through. For me, I can look at all that information before we get on the phone and then be much more prepared to have a great conversation with them. So that's really my step one.
Do you find that a lot of people start with you because they specifically want to lose weight, or is there another goal that seems to be also coming to the top for most people?
It's funny. Energy is actually more frequently a cause for complaint and concern than weight loss. The two go hand in hand. And I think people feel more comfortable actually having a conversation with somebody and saying, look, I am just exhausted all the time. And I don't have either the mental capacity or knowledge to want to try and figure out what to do. I'm looking for somebody who can help me and put me, on a simple path to success.
Got it. Rob, what about you? I imagine in the past you worked a lot with athletes, so they're already way past that step one, but what do you talk to people about when they're first sort of getting introduced to what you offer with your fitness in a bag, and how do you kind of present that to people when they're just starting out?
I very similar to what Jen said. I'm solving pain points, and I don't know what those pain points are until we get into those discussions. And, in some cases it's time. In some cases it's, very similar to what Jen said. It's, I'm lacking energy because I'm in a rut. I'm going through a same daily schedule, 7 days a week. I have young kids, I'm parading them around, that could be someone's pain point. In an athletic population, it could be, trying to shave. I had an ex-student today, it broke my heart. He's sixth in the Olympic 200. So for him, we're talking in the grandest scale of all, where things are being decided by hundredths of a second. So that's the pain point. The difference between, a Canadian won the 200 today, Andre DeGrasse, and my ex-student Aaron Brown finished sixth. And that's the difference. That's the difference between being endorsed by major companies and finishing sixth. And, in about a month's time, if you go to a major mall in Toronto, you may not know who who Aaron Brown is. And that's a different pain point from someone who just wants to get into a normal routine or doing 5 or 10 minutes of exercises. Like right now, I'm trying to get people to check boxes and just small wins every single day. Like I start something. And that's a totally different conversation to someone who is Aaron Brown, who's just trying to tweak things to be a little bit better on that huge international stage.
Right. Those professional, or not pro, but those Olympic athletes they have the commitment, they have the daily discipline, they're doing hours and hours and hours every day. I find that most of my clients, I'm literally at this point, I'm like, look, I have a class tomorrow morning. It's at 9 a.m. You need to show up. And then they show up and I'm like, yes, high five, great job. Okay, I have another class on Friday at 9 a.m. You need to show up. And literally, if it's just like show up, it becomes a habit. Boom, we got them. And then they're looking back like 6 months later and they go, you know what? I don't feel like I'm really working out that hard, but I've lost 25 pounds. I'm like, oh, great. How'd you do that? I don't know. I just kind of eat a little bit less. Great. There's no magic. There's no miracle. It's just like show up, hang out with people like Rob, Jen, myself, and it'll start to rub off, right? So that is not always what's going on in our head, though. This is a little segue for both of you, and I'll answer this question too. Because sometimes as health and fitness pros, we're seen as like, oh, well, yeah, it's easy for you. You know, you are blessed with genetics or whatever other excuse people want to lay on us. And because they don't see the work that we go through or maybe the struggles that we have. Where do the two of you struggle with your own personal health, fitness, wellness, either now or in the past, either one of those?
Well, I guess I'll go. I think for me, it's been a big education lately on hormones. And I'm not ashamed to say it, I'm going through early menopause right now. It runs in my family for the women in my family, and I'm 48. I'm going to be 49 in October. And hormones is not just a concern for women, it's also for men, because they control so much that goes on with our body's functions. You know, our hormones telling are we hungry? Are we full? You know, do we have energy? How do we feel? And so understanding that somebody could be really working very, very hard in the gym or with their daily movement. They could be eating very, very clean. They could be in a slight deficit with their calories, but they're just not making any progress. And it really then comes into, you have to look at stress. You have to look at, you know, how long has it been? Do they have some sort of autoimmune issue? Is there an issue with the thyroid and what's going on there? Or in general, is there some sort of hormone issue? So for me, it's been absolutely fascinating to dive into that on a personal basis, and then being able to expand upon that and share that with other people. So that's been a big concern. And you know, my primary client that I'm going to is someone who is like me, similar in age, similar status. So this has been a topic that has been proven to be something that people are willing to engage on, willing to talk about in the community, because everybody's going through it, right? Are you hot? Are you cold? Oh my gosh, I can't remember anything. You know, these things are real. So that's my current journey right now.
Nice. Cool. What about you, Rob?
No comment from the guys.
I train a lot. Most of my clients are in, like, I would say, well, I'm 41, and if somebody calls me and they're younger than me, I kind of look at them like, are you sure you want to train with me? Because my type of training typically resonates with people who are in their 50s and 60s. And so I have a lot of experience with hearing the symptoms and hearing the stories and watching people go through menopause. And yeah, it's different. It's a whole new set of conditions that you're thinking about. Whereas, you know, when you're in your 20s and 30s, it's like, all right, I got to go to the gym this many times and I have to eat this many calories. And then all of a sudden it becomes, like you said, stress, sleep, relationships, you know, like literally everything's on the table, because everything will influence your hormones. And it could be just as simple as one minor tweak and then you're good to go. And some people, on the other hand, struggle for years. And
yeah, because it really is guys too. It's not just, I mean, menopause obviously is for women, but understanding hormones and understanding the impact and how it can make you feel, and how it can drive you to do certain things and change your behavior.
Right.
You know, that is an incredible journey to be on. So I think when you look at food, you look at movement, you look at stress, you got to look at hormones too. If there's issues going on where people are constantly saying, I'm really at a plateau, well, okay, let's look at why.
And at this point now, you know, so many doctors they can very easily do a panel on all your levels and make sure that everything is working like it should. So that's, you know, anybody watching this who fits the mold of what you were just describing, it's like, I'm doing everything right and I have been for months and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Potentially could be a hormonal imbalance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there is a friend of mine a couple of years ago. He was saying that he had menopause, and because he was feeling it, he was in his early 40s, and he's like, I just don't feel like I did when I was 30. And I get it. You know, at 41, I feel different than I did at 31. I can't work out the same way, and everything's a little bit different. So, yeah. Rob, what about you? Any
Yeah, I would probably say my biggest faux pas on myself might be moderation, and that happens for a lot of athletes, a lot of clients and stuff like that as well, where, you know, I kind of go by the think better, sleep better, eat better, move better type of thing. And when one, you know, they all ripple, you know, that's a book called The Ripple Effect, which I always talk about or talk to, because when one thing happens in your life that you change, it starts rippling into the other ones. But I'm a big kid. I love to play, and I love the socialization around sport. I love everything about it. But then, you know, when you're kind of whether you're the football player on the weekend or a golfer, then you get caught into having a couple of drinks with friends after, the social part, and then that affects your dinner, and then that, might affect your sleep and all that stuff. And, having to say no sometimes is hard, because that's kind of who I am. And I want to do it all. And sometimes the negative ripple effect happens where, you party too hard, or you do something, then it has a negative consequence somewhere else. And it's, we're in the summer here in Toronto, the weather's beautiful and stuff like that. It's hard to say no to these things that you really want to do. So I would say moderation is the key to me in making sure that it's, it's all kind of level balanced. And, I see the same thing with clients. And like I said, athletes, it's especially when you're dealing with high school age athletes, where the influences are so profound with, parties and alcohol and potentially drugs and all those kind of things. It's hard for people to walk away when you don't have that self-confidence to say, hey, you know what, like, I know you're my buddies, but I need to go to bed because I have this important tryout or something tomorrow. So
Right.
It doesn't change, like whether you're 16 or 50, it's still similar.
Yeah, I can definitely identify with that moderation, specifically with food. Yeah, like if you put a large pizza in front of me, I will eat it all. Like there's just no doubt, I will take care of it. If we're at dinner together and you don't finish your food, I will eat it for you. I'm that guy. I always have been, because when I was an athlete as a high schooler, I was just always hungry and I always ate, and kind of got into that habit. And now that since COVID started, and now I'm doing my workouts with my clients because I need to show them what to do, and I have like less feedback with being able to like touch them and say, move your shoulder here. So I have to just show them. And so I'm just like high school again. Like I'm always hungry. And sometimes that means I'll sacrifice it and just say, I'll put this in my body, whatever it is, even though it's not necessarily the most optimal fuel. But sometimes I'm just like, I just need to get something in me. I honestly don't care what it is. And I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad. It just is what it is, but something that I'm aware of and dealing with in my own way.
Well, I know younger trainers, often jam pack their schedule because they're trying to grab clients and things like that. And, it could be 12-hour days where you're literally going from client to client. And sometimes your own health decreases just because you're trying to get yourself out there and making sure that you take care of the client first. And after a 12-hour day and you're doing that 5 days a week, then you look back at yourself and go, okay, well maybe I didn't eat as well as possible, and that's affecting my sleep because I have to follow up with some of their needs. And then before you know it, you put yourself on the back burner. And again, that moderation of, someone who's a little bit more seasoned that can say, okay, I'm going to do 6 clients today, but I'm going to take 2-hour breaks because I got to deal with my family and I got to deal with my health and my nutrition and all that kind of stuff. It's important to have a balance. And I just know what I'm kind of, that would be my thing right now. But when things start rippling in a really good way, if you have something tangible, like a target or something, in some cases it's a wedding or a trip somewhere or a contest coming up, man, if things are all on point and they start rippling together, very similar to what Jen was talking about with hormones and stuff, man, it's just such a great feeling of waking up with this euphoric feeling of like, man, I'm just ready to conquer the day and be positive and just whatever challenge comes my way, I'm ready for it. So
yeah, absolutely, 100%. I want to give you guys a chance to go big picture, and I want you to think about if you had a struggling client, and let's say not just struggling with like the, what we were just talking about, like they're doing everything right and something's not happening, but let's say the client who has a mindset that they just don't think they can succeed, or they just don't think that if they do everything right, that they think they're the exception, right? We've all met people like that, or maybe even embodied some of those mindsets ourselves at certain points in our lives, but like just kind of defeated, negative attitude. What's the motivational speech that you would give to a person like that, to sort of get them out of their head and get them seeing that, hey, when you start to make changes, good, positive things are going to happen? So what's that motivational speech look like for you guys?
That was great. The first time he asked me that question. How am I going to do that differently?
We can just replay that footage right now and just hey editor, just like splice it in. Help Jen out real quick. She's had a busy website day.
Brain dump for sure. So look, for somebody like that, I just have to like them and be like, just stop for a second and acknowledge to yourself that just by having these thoughts, just by being aware that you want to make a change, you are miles ahead of the person who is just sitting on the couch doing nothing. People have to give themselves grace. And it's really sad to me that so many people don't acknowledge what a big step it is to make some sort of lifestyle change for health, because it's not easy. It's not easy for a majority of people, especially for someone maybe who has been chronically unhealthy with their habits for their whole life. So just stopping and giving themselves grace and saying, look, give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a hug, whatever it is. You are here now engaging and focusing on this. Then saying, look, let's get back to basics and kind of doing a little checklist with them about, okay, let's really check this. What's going on with your eating? Walk me through your day. What are you having, and getting really, really basic with them to try and kind of keep them going. And then I would say the third thing is really talking about accountability partners besides me, right? Who else is in your circle? Who else is in your life right now, right? Do they have a bunch of, chronically toxic people that are around them that maybe they cannot get rid of or push aside? Because the memes on Facebook and social media make it sound so easy, right? Ditch all the toxic people in your life. Well,
right.
What if it's your spouse, right? This is true deal. And you have to say, look, you have to find some other influences that can keep you going. So it's back to who else is in there in your life? Are you engaged? If there's nobody, who can you find, right? Because we're all pretty open here in Atlanta right now. So even with kind of the resurgence, so people are out walking, people are out doing things in parks, people are out doing something. Can you join a walking group? What's going on there? And then, the last part would be, okay, well then what about the accountability groups, right? Who have you engaged with? Who have you made friends with? I know somebody who's very similar to you. I want to introduce you to. Let's all get together on a Zoom and talk. So really that's where I kind of just get them back into saying, look, you are here. This is awesome. This is massive. Now let's take this forward. It's okay, right? It's okay that you've stumbled. It's okay that you stop. When you get a flat tire on your car, right? You don't immediately go out and slash the other 3 tires. You fix that tire and you keep going. That's what we're going to do here. So that's usually how I handle it. So I'm not sure if that was good or better than before, but
that was great. I think it was better. We're improving every day. I think as you were talking about the spouse, I just thought, with some people in your life, you might love them dearly, but you don't necessarily want to share your goals with them. And that just is the way it is, especially early on. Like I use the analogy of a funnel, right? If you're at the top of the funnel and you haven't whittled it down to specifically what you're going to do, there's only, and hopefully everyone listening has at least one of these people in their life, but some people you do not want to tell them what you're up to until you're done. So instead of like, hey, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Oh yeah. How are you going to do that? You eat pizza every day. You drink soda. But to that person, you could say, hey, I lost 50 pounds. And they might be your big, wow, congratulations. That's awesome. You never know. But if you catch them in the wrong point in the process, then they may instead of being your cheerleader, they might be your biggest hurdle. So
exactly. And unfortunately it is oftentimes whether they're mean to or not, it can be the people that are closest to us.
Yeah.
So I often find that finding that person who is not personally invested in your life, that other person is a better sounding board, because that person who's so close to you, what they're going to do is everybody's thinking in their head, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Right. So that other person is thinking, gosh, Jen's going to do this. Does that mean I have to do this now? Oh my gosh. Now they're re-examining their life and they're getting really bitter because they're not in the same headspace that you're at where they're ready for change. Right. And that I see that all the time.
Right. Absolutely. Rob, what do you tell that person who's sort of mentally not ready? They're struggling. They need a pep talk, motivational speech.
Actually, the timing is perfect because I had one last night. So let's call my friend Pete. So Pete and I were golfing last night, and he's gained a few pounds since COVID, and he's been at that weight before. And what broke my heart last night is that one of his loves is playing hockey, adult recreational hockey, and he's 290, and he doesn't think he's going to be able to play in the fall. And I'm like, Pete, it's July. Like, we got lots of time if you need some help, some intervention, some, again, as Jen was saying, sometimes if you're too close, even though we're in the profession of health and wellness, my dreams for him would be just being able to go back to do the things he wants to do. And whether it's hockey or, playing sports, he was using his weight as a crutch of saying, I can't do these things, as opposed to let's dream big here. Let's put you on a plan so that you can get there. And, we started talking about lifestyle and, that his morning starts, with a drive and fast food and staying around more often than not. And even on the golf course, we just talked about, yesterday we both took carts. I normally don't take a cart, but I felt obligated to take a cart because he always takes a cart. And I like to walk on a golf course just for the exercise. So that was a simple adjustment, like not, hey, walk for all 18 holes. Why don't we just walk for 9 and then take a cart? Or if you want to take a cart for 9, again, the small wins, if you check a couple boxes and stuff like that, and then start feeling good about these wins and celebrate them, and have other people invested in your, in your cause, and have those people that are closest to you understand what you're trying to do. So they're not going to try to sabotage you and saying, hey, let's go out, if his wife and him go out for, they drive around the neighborhood, they enjoy doing that, but then they stop at McDonald's for, or another fast food place for breakfast. So enjoy the time with your wife, but maybe come back and, we suggested walking yesterday, which he didn't like walking. But there's other things that can happen. Right. And, it was a great conversation. Now I'm going to follow up with them because it was, maybe not the right time, just like you said. It's, sometimes you come in at the wrong time, and even though we're trying to help, it may not have been the perfect time for him to hear this information. So give it a couple of days, digest it, and let's come up with a plan of dreaming big. Like, my background is Maui. That's always my dream. That's why it's my background, because it was one of my favorite places in the world to be, because of the health and wellness, how I felt every day while I was there. So
yeah, Hawaii is awesome. There's nothing quite like it.
Exactly.
What I would say to that person, similar to what you were saying, Jen, is you always have to find a balance between being proud of where you are, comfortable, content, satisfied, grateful, and striving for that next level. And I think a lot of that, you said the word grace. I think a lot of grace comes in. It's like forgiving yourself for making mistakes. There really are no mistakes. There's just learning opportunities. And I really believe that. It sounds like a cliche, but you take a step that's going in the direction that maybe you don't want. It, just back up and go the other direction. You don't need to whip yourself on the back for going the wrong direction, or for not listening to your mom, or for not doing it right, or not knowing everything. And we're all learning as we go. And some of us have easier times at certain activities than others of us. And it's just part of the process of life. So enjoying the process, not being so caught up on the destination, because once you get to the destination, you're just going to want something else anyway. And, and that's only 1% of the whole ride anyway, right? 99% of the time you're going to be in pursuit of that goal, and then you're going to get it for that 1%. And then, okay, now what? Now what do I want, right? So enjoying the journey. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. As Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that. And all right, I want to give you guys both a chance to promote your businesses, tell people how they can find you, any projects you're working on, websites. Jen, new website that you're putting out. Take it away.
Well, be kind, everybody. If you go check out my website, I don't know when this is going to be published, but literally just a half an hour ago before this, I went live with my new site, jenocknen.com. So it's, I'm excited about it because it's a different approach. It's truly the work of a lot of actually personal branding work, copywriting work, things that I invested in myself during COVID time to really refresh who I wanted to talk to and who I felt I could best help. And it really was people who were like me, who were dealing with corporate stress, who were dealing with too many happy hours and travel and lunches. And now it's the corporate stress and you're at home and you're trying to manage it all. So those are the people, women in particular, that I like to focus on. I like to focus on simple changes, I have certain products that I absolutely love that I think are amazing. I'm getting into hormones and adaptogens and all kinds of cool stuff. But the website has got some really great freebie content on there that I encourage people to check out. I've got an email list where I'm giving out a lot of value in terms of tips, tricks, recipes, all kinds of good stuff. And then pretty soon we'll have a blog, which will be mostly, I think, video blog, because I enjoy the video format. And then introducing some other new brands. Like I've got Scout and Cellar Wines, which is clean crafted wine, because hey, I like to eat healthy, but I still love to enjoy my wine. And if this wine doesn't give me a hot flash or keep me up or give me a headache, then it's a total win. So I'm a huge fan of that wine and that company. So really, it's a very exciting time. And now that my kind of creation process is over, I'm really looking forward to having a bunch of new clients coming in, because COVID was a very exciting time in terms of people are more open to the conversation about being healthy, about treating food as medicine, about taking care of themselves, taking personal responsibility, because nobody wants to go to a hospital. Nobody wants to be sick, right? So the best thing you can do is make those smart choices every single day. And so I'm getting a lot more clients like that, which has been really fantastic. And I'm ready to see more. So check out my website. If you see any mistakes on it, if you like it, if you don't, please connect with me. A whole new forum, and I'm super excited about it.
Nice. That's awesome. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I'd love for people to connect with me. It's fitnessinabag.ca. So that's the website, and, Instagram handle, Fitness in a Bag. I've been writing programs now for forever, it seems like, but since COVID, I'm actually really excited now that teams are starting back up to kind of go back to, what the bag was intended for. Not that I'm against where it went during COVID in terms of hitting education and maybe the everyday family. But I am excited now that there's more programs. I'm getting into more of the habits and lifestyle section, where we're going to talk about, the four main pillars of eating better, sleeping better, moving better, and thinking better. Not only just the exercise that comes right to your phone, but also if you need help with, drinking water or, turning off notifications on your phone, those things can kind of pop up onto your phone. And I think I have about 1,800 people now on my app. So it's done really well, but I'm excited to move into the next chapter. I'm still looking for trainers to help me, because it's just kind of a nice way to bridge just having another set of eyes. I've written tons and tons of programs, so I have kind of, a beginner type, for someone who's just starting out, but lots of team stuff as well. So it's a pretty exciting time right now. I'm quite happy where it is. There's up to 21 products. There's 3 different types of bags, but it's pretty cool right now.
I think it's an amazing concept, by the way, because I saw your interview with Chris earlier. So I think kudos. I think it's a tremendous idea. And I wish I had had something like that during the pandemic. I had to buy all my stuff piecemeal to keep me active and moving in my basement gym, but definitely a great business model.
Fantastic. Thank you for saying that. That's, just if you're a personal trainer, just reach out, and if we can help each other, I think, same sort of thing. It's not just about training now. It's exactly what you're talking about there. Everybody, we should be working together as a family of people and referring and stuff like that, because there's areas where, one of my neighbors has 4 kids and stuff like that. And I may not one of the exercises I gave her initially, it was too weird for an athlete. And I need a softer approach in some cases, right? So having a team behind you, then that's why I said, personal trainers reach out to me and stuff like that, because it's just having more eyes and having more experience with people in different areas. It's a team approach, and having a support system is always really good for everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I've gathered from starting this podcast about a year ago. Is just like the networking, and we're all in this together, and let's help build each other up. And there's plenty of little niche opportunities for everybody. So that's great.
Hey, Chris, Can I mention one thing real quick?
Sure,
I wasn't going to, but I think I'm going to now. What Rob was talking about, there's a gentleman too that I'm working with him. I'm actually going to be a founding partner in it, and it's called Club ABA, Activity Builds Activity. And it's a group focused on seniors. and senior activities, senior movement, but the community will be really, it's a wide range of things in terms of activities with outings or virtual book clubs, but then also in terms of nutrition and mindset and activity. So Rob, maybe I'll give you a chat about that as well, because our older population in particular during this time was very shut in and very, very isolated. And I think a community like this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Hopefully we don't have to go into any sort of shutdown again, but in general, our older population, I mean, they struggle so much because they stop moving, and you think 75, 80 is old. No, people can be out moving, running, active, doing yoga, Tai Chi, whatever it is. So I'm super excited, and definitely I'll have more information on that on my blog and as that comes forward. But look for content about Club ABA. So that's going to be very exciting.
That sounds good. Yeah, definitely check that out. Check out both Rob and Jen, what they're up to. Rob Packus, Jen Ocknen, thank you guys so much again for joining me today on Health in the Real World. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.